Welcome, everyone, to the Flix Fellas YouTube channel. We really appreciate that you're here. We are a group of 3 lifelong friends. I'm James.
I'm Joey.
I'm Kevin.
And we have a movie review podcast. We go through streaming originals that, you know, those things you see in your queue that you're like, oh, maybe I should watch that, maybe I shouldn't. We go through and find the diamonds in the rough for you. If you're listening to this, if you could, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're really trying to grow our base on there. And to, get us a little more acquainted, we have a couple questions we're going to kind of throw back and forth. So, Joey, do you want to start off or do you want me to start?
Yeah, let's talk first favorite genres that you guys like to watch. What movies do you guys gear yourself towards and are naturally just attracted to more when you're just looking for a movie and you're scrolling through?
I'm going to be honest. I look for action above all else. Big over the top, like Dune, Pacific Rim, stuff like that. Like, I eat that stuff up. I love it, because it's stuff that isn't real and, like, it's something I've never seen before. And that's what I look for in movies.
Okay, Kev?
I mean, it's no secret that, like, sci-fi, action, they're all big for me. Big blockbuster films are kind of my bread and butter in, like, just casually watching movies. Just shitty, campy flicks. I do like to sit down and put on a drama, put on, I guess you could say, those Oscar baity films, but in small doses. I like to fill it up with, like, really shitty, action movies, and then every once in a while watch one that kind of brings me back and, like, oh, like, that's a really good movie. That's what filmmaking's all about. Now, let me get back to Transformers 8 and until my next good drama. So, yeah, I mean, I like all movies. Horror, old school horror is another one that I enjoy to watching. James is a big no on that, but
I don't like horror. I don't. What about you, Joey?
I was going to say my biggest ones are psychological thrillers with big plot twists, big mind twisty bending movies that, like, really make you think, or you have to, like, watch multiple times to really understand, like, what happens. Shutter Island type, Memento, Inception movies.
Good for you to let the audience, these new audience members, know this, because you've been trying so hard to find a good psychological thriller on Netflix or HBO or Hulu, and man, have you failed. We are still hunting for, like, a good mindfucky psychological thriller. So if you're out there and you know a really good one, please let us know, because Joe has been trying so painfully
desperately.
I actually have a little statistic for you. Speaking of movies that we've watched on this show.
I love statistics.
Yes. In our first 2 seasons, what do you guys think were the top 3 genres that we watched based on IMDb's classification of genre?
In no specific order. I'm just going to pick 3 genres that are in the top 3. Thriller, action, drama.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm definitely going to go thriller. I think I'm going to go historic, because I feel like we had a few historical gems in there.
That's a curveball you're throwing, James. Yeah. It's totally based in fact, but kind of a wild pitch.
I'm kind of a wild guy, Kevin. And we only had one animated movie. I'm going to go action as well. Action. Action, thriller, historical.
Is the Old Guard considered historical?
So I'll say this. Can I preface why I wanted to give you guys, like, why it was based off of IMDb's classification of genres and not ours, is because The Two Popes is not considered a bio-historical picture, which is weird.
What?
Yes. So, like, James,
drama?
You do have credit there, but it's not.
But it's
wrong. Officially wrong. The top...
Damn you, IMDb.
The top genre that we've watched on the show, so if you like dramas, we're probably going to watch more dramas. That's number 1. 17 movies have been classified as dramas. Second and third are actually tied at 11 with action and crime. Yeah, nobody said crime.
You watch a lot of crime.
Yeah, Hypnotic. Yep.
Woman in the Window, Shadow of the Moon.
Shadow of the Moon, Woman in the Window. What was the one we
Girl
just
on the
watched?
Train,
Intrusion.
Cherry.
Girl on the Train.
No.
Cherry.
Don't talk about
it. God damn, I'm surprised that's not number 1. I feel like every goddamn movie revolved around crime. What is wrong with us?
Yeah, so those are our 3 biggest genres. If you like those genres, chances are we'll probably watch more of those in the future.
Yeah, I got a question. For you. What's your favorite streaming service right now? I feel like we've been inundated by subscriptions on subscriptions on subscriptions. What do you think is the most kind of like bang for your buck streaming service?
The best one right now, and I think it fluctuates, the best one right now is HBO Max.
I don't agree.
Interesting.
I just don't agree. I think it's good.
It has the entire backlog of HBO television shows that you can work through. And it also is coming out with like their own originals, which we haven't really touched on, like as far as movies. But then they have a ton of shows on there too, like just like TV shows. I think that's the one I use most often right now.
I think Netflix is still my like first go-to, but the content that they produce, they just put out so much content that it's hard to find the good stuff, which is why we're here. Now, Amazon Prime has a lot of good movies, good like indie movies, good action movies. They feel like invest in better movies than they're in quality over quantity type of company. And then on the other hand, I've been really into Apple TV. I haven't watched too much of their stuff to be like, is it great? But I love like some of their shows that they've put out and some of their movies have been better production values as well. So I would say between Prime Video right now and Apple TV Plus are my two.
You also have to give an honorable mention to Disney Plus, though, for doing what they did as far as streaming services go. Like, the streaming services are like one of those industries with huge barriers to entry, and they just fucking crushed it right off the bat because it's Disney.
They have every childhood memory in their vault that they were able to be like, you want kids, you want teenagers, you want adults, you want old people. They got them all.
Fucking good.
And they come out with the new stuff.
Yeah.
They monetize nostalgia. I think honestly, so like mine is Disney Plus, and like it's Disney Plus or Amazon Prime, but I almost feel like Amazon Prime is like, I feel like I see Amazon Prime as less of like a streaming service because you do have to like pay to watch those movies. But like I go there all the time. Like I feel like that's like almost my first go-to is like, oh, what do I want to watch on Amazon Prime? Because I feel like there's so many really good hits and new stuff in shows and movies on Amazon Prime. But what I'm saying is I think it's Disney Plus because it like honestly, like the thing, if I'm looking at like time something hits a streaming service and like time, like the like how long it takes me for like to me to sit down and watch it, like Disney Plus, I'm going to it every week for shows. I'm going to it as soon as like a new movie hits Disney Plus. You know what I mean? It's the first thing I run to, you know? Everything else I kind of just browse.
That's a great point, James, and I think you've swayed me a little bit in, like, I use HBO Max fairly often, and I think it's got, like, the best library of, like backlog for HBO and stuff. Like, it has some of the best television shows of all time. But if we're talking bang for your buck streaming service, that Disney Plus package, you get Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and National Geographic for the same price as HBO Max, like, monthly. That's a steal. Yeah. That is probably the best deal that they have out there.
Okay, so final question for you guys. What are the 3 biggest factors when you're watching one of these movies that we're reviewing that determine your click play or keep scrolling outcome?
Honestly, and I said this in one of our episodes that's coming out that I won't spoil for you. I honestly look at entertainment value first. Like, while I'm watching the movie, does it keep me in my seat? Does it make me want to finish the movie? Am I looking at the timer? You know, that's the first thing, right? Everything else is secondary. The second thing I look at is also time, right? Like, movie time is very important because, like, if I'm in a movie and, like, I'm, like, kind of going in and out, an hour and a half is way different than 2 hours and 15 minutes, you know? Because I'm sitting there for an extra hour, basically, that I don't really want to be there. And it's taking away from the movie. Like, you're giving me too much. Like, you need to refine it to a point where it's entertaining and tells a non-convoluted story. Again, like, obviously acting and, you know, set pieces. I like sounds and, like, the, like score is really important, especially if it's musical inspired.
You know, when you're watching a movie on streaming, you're sitting at your house watching it. I'm really grading it based on is watchability, right? Is entertainment value, just like you. Does this movie entertain me? Does it pace itself well enough that I can sit through the whole movie in one sitting on my couch? Like, I'm entertained the whole time. and it tells a good story, you know, and has like some good acting, like has all the good features of a good movie. But I think the biggest part of it is that, like, am I entertained, and that pacing of it, right? Because some movies you go that are like these cinematic pieces, 2.5 hour long, you go and see them in the theaters, and I feel like they can slack a little bit on the pacing, that it can slow down a little bit to the point where you're stuck there. You're stuck at the theater, so you have to watch the thing play all the way out. So you come out of there and you're like, oh, it was kind of long and it was kind of slow, but it was worth it in the end. Whereas streaming services, when I'm sitting on my couch, if I'm not entertained, I'm going to get up and walk away, and I might not come back to that movie, and I might not get that satisfaction that comes at the end of those big cinematic pieces. So it really has to be entertaining, generally entertaining, and keep my attention the whole time, or else, like...
So your three factors are entertaining, general entertainment, and entertainment.
Pacing. Yes, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So for me, I think, like you guys both, like the reason we whole started this podcast is just pure entertainment value. We're not critics to be like, oh, the lighting was great, oh, this was good. Like, we want to we're trying to find movies that are worth watching and kind of specify when it's a good time to watch it. Is it a Friday night date movie? Is it a Sunday morning type of movie? So entertainment value, of course, prime factor. Second, I would say has to be like production value. I want to like watch a movie that people invested their time and money and energy into, and not just something that was kind of half-assed. And then similar to kind of what you guys both said, like pacing is huge. It doesn't bother me as much. Like, I don't care if I'm watching a 2.5 hour movie, like as long as it kind of keeps going. Like, the story is original and exciting enough that like I want to keep like watching, even if it's not like advancing the story. If the world is exciting, again, the production value and the entertainment value, like if the I think that helps the pacing in itself.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah, I agree. I think this is all, like, again, in a vacuum, it's very easy to be like, yes, those are all intelligent ideas. But I do think that, like, you know, we do have our own takes, right? Like, we all want to be entertained, right? Number one. But after that, we all kind of have, like, other sub-focuses that I do think come through on the podcast, you know? And if you're interested in what we have to say, feel free to subscribe, because that's what you're going to get, you know? And let us know what you want us to watch, too. You know what I mean? We're three sets of eyes. We get, obviously, very good recommendations, but, you know, having our followers tell us what to watch or things to check out helps us out, and it helps other people find movies that they want to see, you know? Thanks for signing on. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Subscribe.
Ciao, ciao.